With me, Salailo Makwidiri, and we're going to be kickstarting this morning with a very, very important conversation. The reopening of the Steve Biko inquest. It is putting South Africa's apartheid past back under the spotlight, with the Biko family seeking to subpoena a former apartheid spy. We'll be speaking to the president of AZAPO, Mr. Nelvis Qekema, who'll be joining us now to give us more insight on that regard and why this is such a pivotal and important development. Mr. Qekema, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show. Always a pleasure.
Good morning to you and your listeners.
Mm.
Great one.
No, pleasure is all ours. I want to jump right into it. I want to start with just the genesis of this case. I think it's been a lot of time that we've been waiting for this inquest to be reopened. There've been some issues, regarding whether it's the funding of the case itself for the Biko family, and reaching agreements around that. If you can, for our listeners' sake, just give us a short synopsis of where we currently are and why it took so long. Nearly, five decades, can we say? Because Steve Biko died or was killed in police custody back in 1977. And it looks like only now we might be getting those little green shoots of seeking the truth and finally putting this matter to rest.
Indeed, it is almost a wait and a painful wait of about 50 years, and there is a lifetime. So we had to wait for a lifetime for the reopening of this Biko inquest. And it is telling that we had to wait about 32 years within democracy to have to wait. Now, this wait is happening because the ANC-led government was opposed to the pursuing of justice when it comes to the apartheid killers, apartheid cases. And so it is that just last week you got to hear that there were declassified minutes of the apartheid regime just 2 days before the 1994 elections that came out, and those minutes are revealing that there were agreements between the ANC and the apartheid regime that apartheid killers would not be pursued. There would be no justice. And you would remember that in 1996, AZAPO approached the Constitutional Court to challenge the TRC law, which ensured that there would be no justice when it comes to the apartheid killers. All you needed to do is to come and disclose that indeed I killed so and so, and then you were scot free, no justice. Even so, there were some cases that were rejected by the TRC, and the TRC then ruled that those cases must be pursued and reparations must be paid. The ANC-led government made it a point that there is the Khampempe Commission, which is investigating why no action was taken against the apartheid killers by the Democratic government, which was led by the ANC. And then you remember that both former Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma approached the court, ensuring that they delayed this type of action. And you have seen just recently that Biko would not be funded by the Legal Aid Board and the Ministry of Justice, and they had to be pursued, and then they had to be instructed by the court, which was why that only after the Monday afternoon that the funding came to be, when in fact the Ministry of Justice, Department of Justice, is already funding the Craddock 4, which is similar to Steve Biko's case in every respect. And a means test had to be, Mrs. Biko had to be subjected to, he had to be stripped naked, he had to be humiliated, and then because they were saying, even though your husband was killed, you need to pay for this justice. So we are very angry as a Zapo that had to happen.
And I think it's very, very important to note that aspect. I want to start with the subpoena of this apartheid spy or former apartheid spy. Can you give us more insight on that? Why is the Biko family seeking to bring this person before the inquest? And does the family believe that this particular individual could tell the inquest that has not already been established or that is not already known about Steve Biko's killing?
Now, remember, we had to wait for a lifetime for this to happen, and then we don't even think as a support that there is much justice we're going to be able to get out of this, because already out of the 5 so-called perpetrators, 3 of them have since died, and the 2 remaining are in their 80s. What are you going to get out of that? Now, however, we still think as a support that because the former apartheid spy, Craig Williamson, recently revealed at Cradle 4 inquest that they were surveilling Steve Biko's movement in 1977, early 77, and then they knew that he was going to have a meeting with O.R. Tambo of the ANC. Now, we are now saying as a example, if then that is so, this guy should be called to give us more. Remember, he was also associated in a way with the killing of Biko's comrades, Unko Putetiro, in 1974 in Botswana, Hasselbom. So Craig Williamson was working for the IUEF. And then you would remember that in that IUF, also Mrs. Zanele Mbeki, wife of Thabo Mbeki, was working for that organization as well. And we are now saying, hey, can you guys come forward and give us more? Tell us more. We need to know.
Very, very important. I want us to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to touch a bit on the issue of South Africa confronting its apartheid past and why getting the full truth on issues such as Steve Biko's death still matter to this day, because there are some people that make arguments about whether or not it's still relevant so many years after. Who do you want to arrest? Why do you want people to know what happened? And I want to unpack on that and why is it still relevant and important to this day. But we'll do that when we return.
It's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying, or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Right now, over 150 million children around the world are orphaned, facing hunger, hardship, and uncertainty. With Islamic Relief's Orphan Sponsorship Program, you can provide a child with access to education, nutritious food, essential healthcare, and a safe home. Your sponsorship is not just support, it's hope, security, and a brighter future. Be the reason an orphan child smiles again. Sponsor an orphan today with Islamic Relief.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Are you banking with convenience, transparency, and flexibility? With Al Baraka Bank's transactional banking account, you can enjoy convenient everyday banking designed around your needs. Benefit from zero fees on point-of-sale transactions and manage your banking easily through Al Baraka's secure mobile banking app and internet banking platform. From everyday payments to managing your personal or business banking, Al Baraka makes banking simple, transparent, and convenient. Visit albaraka.co.za to learn more. Al Baraka, your partner bank. Al Baraka Bank Limited is an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views of myself, Salano Makudi. Our time is 18 minutes past 8, and I'm still in conversation with Mr. Nelvis Qekema. And we're having a conversation around the reopening of the Steve Biko inquest and a fresh push by the Biko family to subpoena former apartheid spy. And Mr. Qekema, thank you so much for staying with us. I think before I went on to that short break, I asked the question around relevance. When someone asks why nearly 50 years since Steve Biko was killed, why you want to know the truth? South Africa has gained its democratic independence. We are here now. Everyone is living in a free and fair society. Why would this help?
Now, first of all, it is not as if AZAPO and the Steve Biko family do not know the truth. People of South Africa, you sitting there, know exactly what the truth is. We know who killed Biko. We know for sure who killed Biko. But now the difference is that for the future, for posterity, for the future of our children, they also need to get the killers to come up front and speak the truth they themselves without being forced. And that truth be recorded through the official and the formal platforms of justice. So that is important. But once we know that truth is useless if it does not go with justice. So truth alone and naked truth does not help anybody. It has to go with justice. And the problem with justice right now is that 3 of the perpetrators have since died and 2 are in their 80s. And then what do you do if you want to punish them? Do you take people who are chasing their 90s to jail to do what in jail? That is a problem and a serious problem. And then you see that this is happening because the democratic government has to take responsibility for postponing justice, for erasing justice. And in fact, even this reopening, it is just a fait accompli, something that is trying to sanitize their politically bruised faces. They just need the record, the historical record to say, but we tried, but we did it. So that's why, as AZAPO, we are not impressed at all.
You touched on the democratic government, which in this case would be the ANC for the past 30 plus years. Is there a sense of feeling like they've betrayed the cause, that they haven't done quite enough for recourse to be reached and for ultimately cases like Steve Biko's one, which one would assume would be top of the agenda, to finally be put to rest?
Remember that just a few weeks ago, an ANC leader and then former NDPP, Vusi Pikoli, came out again with his cliche that these cases were unwinnable, so that's why they wouldn't pursue them. And you would remember that unwinnability when it came to the Zuma case, his own comrade. And then this unwinnability when it comes to the apartheid killers. And then just 2 days ago, a leader of the ANC and the Minister of Justice, Mr. Lamula, was out there boasting about why they felt that this case must not be pursued because there is nothing to gain out of them. Says a young man. I doubt if he was born at that time. I don't know. And but this is important because if we leave it like this, somebody will repeat it in future. So we need to ensure this is never repeated. Somebody should never dehumanize another one, and then that person, comes out scot-free. That should never happen.
Very, very important to note. Do you have confidence that the legal process that has been started now will go far enough to uncover the information that was previously concealed or not probed enough?
We are not very sure about it. We are skeptical as AZAPO. Remember, yesterday, the Biko family filed for a postponement of the inquest. Why? The reason for that is that they received a funding very late in the day. And then why was that so? Nobody knows. Why would a government reopen the case and then still would not fund Mrs. Biko, and they would treat him as a criminal who's coming to the legal aid to be helped when she was not? But then again, we are now told, we learn, that the record of the 1977 Biko inquest, which was a farce, was written in Afrikaans, not the kind of Afrikaans you and I speak, the gewone taal, not at all. It was the Nederduitse that is spoken in Holland. So nobody is able to understand that record. So that record needs now to be translated. And those are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of papers. It's going to take a lot of money and a lot of time. But also we now hear that the documents which were filed, the apartheid doctors associated with the murdering of Steve Biko, those documents now have some important papers missing. And also there are pictures missing, and important critical papers and pages missing to this case. So you already see that somebody made it a point that would wait for a lifetime so that the evidence can be tampered with, or the evidence can decay over time. And then these guys can decay in terms of age over time, and some of them can die naturally over time, such that there's nobody to pursue, and there's no truth to be found, and no justice to be delivered.
No, most definitely. Qekema, I think we're going to leave it on that note. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you giving us your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
They have it. That was Nelvis Qekema, president of AZAPO, joining us on news and views on the reopening of the Steve Biko inquest and the push to subpoena former apartheid spies to try and further establish what really happened. Who killed Steve Biko and why? Who are the people involved? And I think it's time to put it to bed, man. How many decades? 50 years on. What do you think? Do you think this is still important? Do you think it's relevant? Do you think as South Africans, we should not, just leave the past hanging? Some things need to be put to bed. And I think Steve Biko's death is right up there as one of them. Or maybe we should just move on, as many like to suggest. We'd like to hear your thoughts. Continue to follow us across social media. We're going to take a quick break. News and views will be back with you after this.